today we're going deep on crude oil.
Ooh.
You know, it powers our cars and makes plastics. But
Right.
are you ready to go from ancient organisms to the impact on Nigeria and the world?
Sounds fascinating.
We're going to be using technical explanations and economic data and even a little history.
It's a fascinating story.
Yeah.
I think you'll be surprised how much it impacts your daily life,
Okay.
even beyond just filling up your gas tank.
Okay, so most people know that oil comes from ancient life.
Right.
But how did those tiny organisms actually become the crude oil we extract today?
Well, imagine ancient seas just teeming with microscopic life.
Wow.
Plankton, algae, all of that.
Yeah.
Over millions of years, their remains settled on the ocean floor, forming layers upon layers of organic material.
Okay.
It's hard to grasp the timescales involved.
Millions of years.
Yeah, as these layers get buried deeper and deeper under sediment, heat and pressure transform them into the hydrocarbons that make up crude oil.
So it really is a fossil fuel.
Absolutely.
Just like coal. But crude oil is more complex than just one substance, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a mixture of different types of hydrocarbon molecules, alkanes, cycloalkanes, aromatic hydrocarbons, each with its own unique properties.
Okay.
And these molecules are incredibly versatile. They act as building blocks for a huge range of products, from gasoline to plastics.
Okay, Nigeria holds Africa's largest crude oil reserves, 37 billion barrels. I know there are countries with more, but 37 billion still sounds like a massive number.
It is significant, but it's important to remember we're talking about proven reserves, a number that can change as technology improves and exploration continues. To put it in perspective, Venezuela has over 304 billion barrels in proven reserves, and Saudi Arabia holds about 267 billion. But even with smaller reserves, Nigeria's oil production accounts for nearly 10% of the continent's total output.
Wow.
It's a major player on the global stage.
Okay, so there's this massive amount of oil underground, but how do we get it out? I'm guessing it's not as simple as just digging a hole.
You're right about that. It's a sophisticated process that starts with exploration. Geologists act like detectives, using seismic surveys, gravity measurements, and satellite imagery to search for potential oil deposits. They analyze these clues to create maps of underground formations, almost like an ultrasound image of the Earth's crust.
So it's like searching for buried treasure.
Exactly.
But with high-tech tools.
Exactly. And once they pinpoint a promising location, the real action begins with drilling. We're talking about boreholes that can extend thousands of feet below the surface.
That's incredible.
A true engineering marvel.
I can only imagine the pressure involved in bringing oil up from those depths.
It's immense. They use strong casing pipes to line the borehole, preventing collapse and ensuring a safe flow of oil to the surface.
So getting the oil out of the ground is just the first step. The real transformation happens in refineries.
Yes, sir.
These massive industrial complexes that process the crude oil.
Right.
They kind of remind me of these giant towers I used to see as a kid driving past them. What's it like inside one of those things?
Think of a refinery like a giant sorting machine.
Okay.
Crude oil arrives as this complex mixture, and the refinery's job is to separate it into valuable components, a process called fractional distillation. Essentially, they heat the crude oil until it vaporizes and then collect different components as they condense at different temperatures
Okay.
inside a towering fractionating column.
So it's like separating a mixed bag of candy
That's a great analogy.
by size and type.
From the top of the column, you get lighter components like gases, then gasoline, kerosene, diesel, and finally heavier substances like lubricating oils and bitumen, the thick black material used for paving roads.
Bitumen.
Yes.
Okay, so Nigeria has 4 main refineries. 2 in Port Harcourt, 1 in Warrior, and another in Kaduna. Are they strategically located near the oil extraction sites in the Niger Delta region?
You bet. Proximity to the source is essential for efficiency, minimizing transportation costs. These refineries play a crucial role in meeting Nigeria's domestic fuel demands, ensuring a consistent supply for the country.
So refining is just one part of the puzzle.
Right.
Okay, so we've extracted the oil and separated it into its components. But there's more to the story, right?
Yes.
What happens next?
There are processes like cracking and reforming that further refine and enhance the value of these products. For example, cracking breaks down larger molecules into smaller, more valuable ones. Think turning heavier fractions into gasoline.
So are we talking about literally splitting those large molecules?
It's a bit like taking a large Lego creation and breaking it down to build something new. Cracking can be done with heat thermal cracking or with special catalysts to speed up the reaction. Catalytic cracking is the most common method used today.
Hold on. You mentioned catalysts speed up reactions, but how do they actually do that?
It's not magic, but it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Catalysts are substances that accelerate chemical reactions without being consumed themselves. In catalytic cracking, they help break down those large hydrocarbon molecules into smaller, more desirable ones, like the components needed for gasoline.
Okay, I see. So it's more like having a super efficient helper in
Yeah.
the refining process. And what about reforming?
Right? Reforming is another crucial process where hydrocarbon molecules are restructured to improve fuel quality, specifically its octane rating. You know how you see regular versus premium gasoline at the pump?
Yeah.
Octane is the key difference there.
So a higher octane number means better performance?
Exactly. Octane measures a fuel's resistance to knocking, which can damage an engine. High-performance engines require higher octane fuels to run smoothly and efficiently. Reforming helps achieve that. But reforming isn't just about making better fuel, it's also crucial for producing base components for things like plastics and synthetic fibers,
Oh, wow.
directly impacting the products you use every day.
That's fascinating. I never realized there was such a direct connection between what happens in a refinery and the everyday products I use.
It really highlights the interconnectedness of the oil industry. But we haven't even touched upon the vast world of petrochemicals, the building blocks of modern life. Think plastics, detergents, even pharmaceuticals.
Wait a minute. Are you telling me that the gasoline I put in my car and the plastic bottle I'm holding
Yeah.
were once tiny sea creatures?
It might sound strange, but it's true.
That's hard to believe.
It all starts with a handful of basic petrochemicals like ethene, propene, and benzene. These molecules are like Lego bricks, the starting materials for countless compounds used in everything from packaging and clothing to fertilizers and medicines.
Okay, now my mind is officially blown. The scale of it all is incredible.
The petrochemical industry is a global giant, and it all stems from those basic building blocks derived from crude oil. But speaking of hydrocarbons, let's not forget about natural gas. I know it's often found alongside crude oil, but it seems to have a cleaner reputation.
Yeah, natural gas is often mentioned as a bridge fuel in the transition to cleaner energy. Is that because it's primarily methane, a simpler hydrocarbon than those found in crude oil?
You got it, methane burns much cleaner than coal or oil, producing fewer harmful emissions. And it has diverse applications.
I've heard about liquefied natural gas LNG. Is that just natural gas in like a super compact transportable form?
Exactly. By cooling natural gas to extremely low temperatures, around minus 162 degrees Celsius, it turns into a liquid, making it much easier and safer to ship across the world. This opens up possibilities for global trade and access to this cleaner energy source.
So what are the main uses for natural gas, both in its gaseous and liquid forms?
Power generation is a major one. Natural gas power plants are becoming increasingly popular as a cleaner alternative to coal-fired plants. Then there's home heating, cooking, and various industrial processes that rely on natural gas as a fuel source. And let's not forget about CNG, compressed natural gas, used to power some vehicles.
So natural gas is a pretty versatile energy source. Could Nigeria leverage its natural gas reserves to become a key player in the cleaner energy market? That's a question worth considering, especially given the global shift towards sustainability. But for now, let's circle back to Nigeria's oil story. The discovery of oil in Oloibiri in 1956 was a pivotal moment for the country. But was it all smooth sailing from there?
Not exactly. While it transformed Nigeria into a major player on the global energy stage, the journey has been full of twists and turns. Oil revenue quickly became the lifeblood of Nigeria's economy, accounting for a large chunk of its GDP and foreign exchange earnings. It fueled development, but also created dependencies and vulnerabilities.
So it's that classic boom and bust cycle we see with many resource-dependent nations.
You nailed it. High oil prices bring prosperity, but when prices drop, the economy suffers. This reliance on oil has also had ripple effects, influencing other industries and even shaping government policies. It's a delicate balancing act, maximizing revenue while promoting sustainable development.
I know the global energy landscape is constantly evolving. I read that the U.S., once a primary buyer of Nigerian oil, is now importing less, with countries like India stepping in. Is that shift part of a larger trend?
Absolutely. Global demand for energy is constantly evolving, and Nigeria has had to adapt its export strategies to remain competitive. New markets and partnerships are emerging, particularly in Asia, where energy demand is soaring.
It makes you wonder about the future of oil in a world increasingly focused on renewable energy. Is there still a place for crude oil in a world striving for sustainability?
That's the million-dollar question.
Right.
And it's complex. We're in a transition period where renewable energy is gaining momentum, but the reality is that we'll likely remain reliant on oil for years to come. It's not a simple switch. It's a gradual shift involving technological advancements, policy changes, and global economic forces.
So are you saying it's not as easy as just replacing oil with solar panels and wind turbines?
Not at all. There are so many factors at play. Think about developing cleaner extraction and refining technologies, carbon capture and storage methods, and the ongoing search for viable alternative fuels. It's a multifaceted challenge.
What about those alternative fuels? Are biofuels, hydrogen fuel cells, and electric vehicles part of the solution?
Definitely. The key is diversifying our energy portfolio and investing in a range of solutions that meet our needs while minimizing environmental impact.
Mm.
No single solution will solve the entire puzzle.
It seems like each country, each region will need to find its own path forward based on its unique resources and circumstances. So where does that leave a country like Nigeria?
Nigeria, with its vast oil reserves, has a unique opportunity and challenge. It's about balancing economic development with environmental stewardship.
So how could Nigeria leverage its resources for more sustainable growth?
It's about investing in infrastructure education and diversifying the economy beyond oil. It's a chance to chart a new course, balancing economic growth with long-term sustainability.
Okay, so we've explored the science, the economics, and even touched upon the geopolitical landscape. What's the key takeaway for our listeners? What should they be thinking about after this deep dive? It seems like Nigeria is at a crossroads, with the potential to become a leader in shaping a more sustainable future.
You're absolutely right. It requires careful planning, strategic investments, and a commitment to long-term vision. But Nigeria has a wealth of human capital and natural resources. The key is to harness them effectively.
This deep dive has been a real eye-opener for me. We've gone from ancient organisms to high-tech refineries, from economic booms to geopolitical shifts. It's clear that crude oil is more than just a commodity. It's a force that has shaped our world.
What's fascinating is how this single natural resource has impacted economies, fueled innovation, and even sparked geopolitical tensions. It really underscores the interconnectedness of our world and how decisions made in one corner of the globe can have ripple effects felt far and wide.
And I never thought about the connection between those octane numbers at the gas pump and ancient organisms.
Yeah.
It really puts things into perspective.
Right.
Every time we fill up our tank or use a plastic product, we're connected to this vast and complex web of oil production and consumption.
It's a powerful reminder that our choices matter. As we move forward, it's crucial that we approach energy decisions with a sense of responsibility, awareness, and a commitment to finding solutions that benefit both present and future generations. There's so much more to explore, to learn, to understand.
Exactly. And that's what we hope to inspire in our listeners, a thirst for knowledge and a desire to dive deeper into the complex issues shaping our world. Whether it's researching the latest advancements in renewable energy technologies or simply making more conscious choices in your daily life, every step counts.
Remember, knowledge is power. The more we understand about the complex systems that shape our world, the better equipped we are to navigate the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead.
Well said. And that wraps up our deep dive into the world of crude oil. We hope you found it insightful, engaging, and thought-provoking.
Thank you for joining us on this journey. We encourage you to continue exploring, to keep asking questions, and to never stop learning.